989 the game, Brian Crozier. I'm speaking with the former head coach of the Topless Wooden Shoes boys basketball program, Andy Fehrenbacher. And Andy, thank you very much for taking the time to come in. And first off, just how are you holding up after what I imagine has been a tough situation for you and for your family?
Well, thanks for having me in, Brian, and happy to be here. Unfortunately, not under these circumstances, but anyways, it's been tough. It's been a pretty grueling 3 weeks, not just for myself, but for my family. And last night was pretty difficult, and today as well. So, but you know, we're strong, and we'll stay strong as a family, and we'll move forward.
Now, maybe we'll start with asking you what the timeline was of the circumstances surrounding this situation. You had the sectional final against Carterville, and that was the end of the season for the Shoes. And
Right.
then, basically, what was the start of this situation after that?
I was approached by the superintendent 3 weeks ago today, actually, and basically just came to tell me the board's intentions, and basically asked that the board would like for me to resign at that time, which really caught me off guard. I had no idea that was happening or was coming. It was certainly something out of left field. But that's basically what prompted this.
When Superintendent Fritcher came to you in that initial discussion, was any specific reason brought up, or was it just that the board has this request of you?
Well, I did ask why, and he said just concerns over just negativity surrounding the program is what he said.
Okay, so this happens basically 3 weeks ago, and in the interim, basically, what was your response to what he said? And then, unfortunately, there have been a lot of rumors, a lot of stories going around. Basically, what were the last 3 weeks like in terms of that?
Difficult for myself, and again, difficult for my family. Basically, after he told me that, and told me the reason why, and you know, I thought about it for a little bit, and I said, well, I really didn't have any intention of resigning, and he said, okay, and he would take that back to the board, and he said he would let me know, and we would go from there.
So at the meeting last night, you were given a chance to speak with the board. You were given a chance to have people speak on your behalf.
Right.
In terms of what you talked about with the board and then what they talked about with you, really, what was the circumstances? What were their reasons? Was there any specific reason they gave you? And then what were your responses to what they told you?
Well, I felt we had a good discussion. It was lengthy. You know, it never was a situation that got very heated or anything like that. It was a lot of questions and question and answer, and you know, people able to come in and speak on my behalf, and you know, in support of me. And Mr. Schnabel, Bill Schnabel, our TEA president, was in with me at the time for the whole duration of the closed session. And he made a point, and I was able to speak as well. But as I said, they had voiced a lot of stuff that they felt, I wouldn't say a lot, but just the concerns that they had on the negativity surrounding our program, which, you know, I think everybody has their own opinions of things. I think a lot of people, you know, let's face it, not everyone agrees. Personally, I don't feel that it was a negative program by any means. I felt that we ran a positive program. I felt like we did a lot of really good things, and you know, is there things that you look back on and think, yeah, I would have maybe handled a little differently, or would have liked to have changed, and so forth. And Yeah, of course. I mean, I think everybody's human, and you make mistakes, but you learn from along the way. And I think I was fixing things and you know, that kind of stuff. But I'll be honest, in this 3-week process, there were a lot of things brought to light, not more so from outside than ever before, ever in the 8 years I was head coach. And you know, the decision that the board made, I accept that. However, like I said, I don't agree that it is or was as negative as maybe what they want to perceive it as. And I would have liked to have had a chance to, you know, fix some problems that, as I said, just came to light and was made aware of me in this recent so many days.
Was the comments about negativity, did they surround like sideline demeanor, or was it more like how you were perceived to be around players, or was it just...
I think, you know, a little bit of, not really a whole lot of specifics, just a lot of generalities like that. But you know, it's something that I look back on, and people that are around me, and we didn't see these types of issues and these things. So that's what I said. I think sometimes people, one person might see as real negative and maybe a bad situation. Someone else says, nah, I don't think that's as bad as what you think it is. So, you know, you're always going to have difference of opinions. You know, and with this situation, comes down to the opinions of 7 people, basically. And they made their decision. And like I said, I accept it. I don't agree with that, but I have the right to that. And I think people would understand that, and they would understand that as well. You know, and the other thing that I was told is that they just wanted the program to move in a slightly different direction. So maybe they have other things in mind what they want to see out of this program, and they don't feel I'm the person to do that. So unfortunately, maybe that played into their decision as well.
And did they indicate, the board, did they say that this was a certain number of people that were making comments? Or
no,
was it
there was never a specific number, very general. And that's one thing I can add too is, you know, I'm not doubting them by any means. I mean, I understand that, and the board office hears some complaints and so forth. But if they were to the point that it would result in termination like this, I think I might have heard of those maybe a lot sooner, or been made aware from people, and I wasn't. I really wasn't.
So the executive session ends, and the board goes back into the regular session, and there were probably 60, 70 people there, and 7 individuals stood up and spoke to the board, and then the vote was made. And I have to ask, what were you feeling when the vote started? Did you feel like it was a done deal that the dismissal was going to happen, or did you feel like maybe you still had a chance of retaining your job at that point?
I think as quickly as they got to the vote, I kind of had a feeling that it was done, unfortunately, and it was very difficult to sit and listen to. And you know, after you put so much time and effort, and you know, you put your heart and soul into something and give so much that you know, you just feel like you've kind of been cast aside. And like I said, the unfortunate thing is I think things could have been avoided, but you know, what's done is done now. And as I said, I feel have done a nice job for Teutopolis as being the head coach. I'm extremely proud in what we did in the 8 years I was head coach. I'm extremely proud of the 17 years I was part of the program. You know, as an assistant for the first 9, but these last 8, you know, as me as a head coach, we were able to accomplish an awful lot, and on and off the floor. And I just sat down the other day and just started going through the list of things that myself and then has done, and the program in general, how it's grown. And I think we were going in a great direction, and I loved what was happening within our program. As I said, every year you have things that you look back on and think, well, I would have liked to maybe have changed that or tweaked that or taken a little different approach. And look, I look at some of those issues, or some of the comments that they made in closed session. I thought those are things that I was already thinking about and had plans in place to change. So that's why I would have liked to have a little more opportunity to do that, but unfortunately that didn't happen.
Did this board say anything about why, if they felt you were not a good fit as a coach, why they feel you're still a good enough fit to be a teacher?
No, there was nothing discussed about my teaching part of the job whatsoever.
Okay. I know this is less than 24 hours after the vote was taken and the decision was made, but in terms of future coaching plans, do you have any plans at this point? I know this has been a very tough situation for you.
Yeah, it has been. Really, it's just been such a whirlwind of things that has happened, and just so many emotions that run through you. I think what my wife and I, and just as a family, we have to sit back and look at what's best for us, what direction we need to go, and we'll take some time, weigh our options, see what's there, what's the right plan of action to take. I really don't know. I mean, my wife's a teacher here in Effingham Unit 40 district. I still have my teaching job there at Teutopolis. We're established and so forth. So that's certainly something that weighs pretty heavily on the decision. So to answer that question of absolutely getting back in, or it's just going to take a little bit of time to. We'll just have to see where the path takes us.
To wrap up, if a future Andy Fehrenbacher had come to you on day one of your stint as head coach at Teutopolis, would you still go through what you've gone through these last 8 years? I know there have been a lot of great moments, and now at least one bad moment.
No, absolutely. I look back with, and this is going to be a time to really reflect on some things. Maybe that's something that I haven't always been good about in the past, and I think that's just my own work ethic and always trying to better myself and better our program and always push, where this will be a time for me just to really sit back and think about all of those great moments, because I've been very fortunate to be around some just tremendous kids, and all those kids that, going back to when I was an assistant as a fresh soft coach for 2 years, and then the 9 years as JV coach, and then the 8 years as head coach. There's been a lot of kids that I've been around, and I know some. I know for the most part they leave the program very happy about their experience, and that's what I always wanted for them. Is there going to be some that maybe has a little bit of disgruntledness or something, some issue, playing time or whatever it might be? Yeah, I mean, I understand that, but I just hope all of those players know that I think about them a lot, and I never will forget all the great moments and even tough times we had. We've just been through an awful lot, and I care about them, and I do believe they know that. I care about not just our players, but our managers, all the cheerleaders I was able to be around that supported our team, just all the cheer coaches, my assistant coaches, lower level coaches. Those are the things you're really going to look back on and miss, and just game nights and those things, but more so than that, it's just the camaraderie of practice and summer ball and those types of things is you look back on, and I'll reflect on a lot of good times there, and I'll miss those moments with those kids. But that's one thing that people can never take away is your memories, and so that's what we have to hold on to right now. As I said, I'm more than proud of what we did. I'm really going to miss the kids that are still in the program that I'm not going to be able to coach anymore. Had a really good group of juniors that will be seniors next year, and a nice group behind them. Whether I'm around this area or not, I'll certainly be supporting those kids, and hopefully they can be the best team they possibly can. I know they'll work hard, and that's something that I was able to put time in with the program. My time is up, and it's time for me to move on from the program. So where that takes me, I'm not real sure, but like I said, I always look back with fond memories.
Andy Fehrenbacher, head coach. Andy Fehrenbacher, former head coach of the Teutopolis Wooden Shoes. Thank you, Andy, for taking the time to come into our studios here at 989 The Game. And we just wish you all the best of luck in your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian, and thank you for all the time and effort that you put in, and following our games and covering our games, and being a good voice for athletics in the area. And I know a lot of people listen to your sports show on Saturday, and that's a great thing. So keep all that going, and wish you the best of luck too.